I'm from the East Sussex County Council Skills and Employment team. There's quite a few of us in the team doing lots of different things with regards to the Careers Hub. There's a lot of services around, and there's some new programs which I'm going to talk about as well. So the Skills and Employment East Sussex has been running for 10 years now. The team has been in existence. There's 6 priority sectors that we are currently working with, digital being one of them, and then you've got construction, engineering, health and public services, land-based, digital, and one other. They are introducing other ones around professional services and logistics and transport as well, because they all come out the industry strategy. Okay. We also have sector task groups linked to the skills priorities. Some of you may sit on those. So we have one in digital. The task groups replicate the SES membership, but reflect specific sectors, meet quarterly, set annual strategic plans, focused on partnership activity and projects, addressing employment and skills challenges for a sector. It's open membership, so anybody can join. That's all right. Join. Some of the examples from the Creative and Digital project examples are digital futures, so matching business mentors with teams of young people to develop digital solutions to an issue they are passionate about. Business judging panel, which had a Dragon's Den type effect. There was also a pilot open doors programme enabling involvement of freelance self-employed people who are so prevalent in this sector, bringing together multiple freelancers, employed professionals in a creative venue to offer activities, industry talks to the pathways and day in the life. I don't know if people are familiar with the Careers Hub. So East Sussex has a Careers Hub. And it's mainly around young people, but there is starting to be more activity around adults as well. And there's lots of different ways employers can engage with the Careers Hub. So, for example, opening their doors, and I know it's happened here, where you've opened up your doors to young people so they can actually engage and have work experience. There's modern work experience now. So they can actually come and see and the crucial thing, particularly in the digital, come and see, but also do have some practical project or something scenario that they can work on. We also have industry champions, so there is digital industry champions. We also have enterprise advisors who work with schools on their career strategy, and they don't it's whole career strategy for the school to make sure that young people have the work experience, and also, I'm going to be honest, have open to courses outside of A levels. So things like apprenticeships, T levels, that kind of thing as well. There's also teacher encounters. As far as I know, I don't think that's happened in digital yet, but I think it's worth looking into in the future, because actually, particularly in the colleges and training providers, technology changes all the time, and it does in any sector, but technology in the digital sector obviously changes all the time. So therefore, lecturers and tutors need to be upskilled, teachers need to be upskilled, so they can know the latest apps, software, AI, for example. Supporting educational employers around modern flexible work experience. So we talked about that as well. CPD for careers leaders. So particularly in this sector, there's a lot of jobs, different types of roles that young people and adults can go into. So it's making those jobs familiar to careers leaders so they can, when they're advising and providing information, advice and guidance to young people and adults, they know the roles out there. But also it's crucial that those roles are local as well. So it's pointless having, I don't know, a role which doesn't exist down here. It needs to be local. Amplify technical pathways for post 16. So I'll go into some of these, but there are a lot of different pathways post 16. There are, you know, the traditional routes, A levels, that kind of thing. There is apprenticeships, which I'll do a little bit on apprenticeships. There's also T levels in the digital space as well, and you do have a few BTECs floating around as well. It's worth also saying, and actually this isn't what, there is going to be changes in this space because there is going to be the introduction of what's called lifelong learning loans, which will mean that instead of doing a full course, you are able to do modules on a loan basis as an adult. So that is quite crucial for the digital sector because it can break a lot of those certificates, diplomas up. Okay. There's also opportunities to work with primary. So it's actually promoting the sector with primary school students. There is lots of different examples where if they know the roles, they can work on a project, they learn, you know, they know what, even at the age of, in kind of, when they're age 7, they kind of get an idea, starting to weigh up what they want to do. So, Connect to Work is an employment service. For adults. Okay, it's a voluntary scheme to support those who need a little extra support finding their right way back into a job. Okay, and it's those who are, they want to get a job, but they may have been out of work for redundancy reasons, illness, or haven't got the confidence to go out and get a job. So it's the support around that. One of the types of the support, there's several different training providers delivering the Connect to Work program, and how employers get involved is if you can open up around work experience, that kind of thing, but also if you have vacancies. Some of these people will be graduates. They just need a little bit of training, or some of them will have had careers, may have been out of the system, had a baby or something like that, coming back into career changes. So they just want that, they just need that extra support, boost of confidence, and then they will be looking for roles. So we at East Sussex are running a kind of matching. So if you have vacancies which could potentially be suitable, we could actually then send your vacancies to the providers delivering Connect to Work. But we would only do that if they had people who would be suitable. You know, we wouldn't do it, you know, and it's the right sector and everything like that. Okay. So it can help your recruitment costs. It can increase staff retention, enhance team diversity, improve productivity, reputation gains. There is also a little piece of Connect to Work if you have anybody who needs extra support because they may not be working to their full potential. Maybe you're managing their performance and they just need that input. They can also be referred to Connect Work as well. Okay. These are some of the partners who have the contracts to deliver Connect Work. As you can see, these partners specifically work with certain kinds of people, clients. So, for example, you've got Easter working with the homeless. You've got Littlegate Farm, who do a lot of work around neurodiverse. You've probably heard of Littlegate Farm, some of you. And then you've got connections with 16 to 24-year-olds, etc. And SEDA, working across the board with unemployed adults, that kind of thing. So if you do, just to encourage you, so if you do have any vacancies which could be suitable for some of these clients, just let us know. It's free promotion basically as well, so we can advertise. Okay, I don't know if anybody's heard of, you probably have through Dan. So East Sussex have recently, and it's nationally, but East Sussex has recently contracted with a lot of providers to deliver skills boot camps. So there are skills boot camps in each of the key priority sectors, including digital. The digital skills boot camps are being provided by Creative Process, who are a Brighton-based training provider, and Tech Native, which is Dan Woolman. The skills boot camps are flexible sector-specific courses offering training from level 2 to level 5. They're free for unemployed and self-employed individuals, which is great for freelancers. And employers hiring from the scheme. Employers only pay a small contribution to upskill any current staff. So it's 10% for small and medium businesses and 30% for larger organisations. These are the digital skills boot camps on offer in East Sussex. And the crucial thing is that you have to, if you were a freelancer, you would have to be resident in East Sussex. There are skill boot camps, if anybody lives in West Sussex, there are skill boot camps in West Sussex. They're slightly different, but there are some. So in East Sussex, you have Adobe Digital Skills Boot Camp, you have the Google Digital Marketing and Analytics Skills Boot Camp, Video Skills Boot Camp, and Data Analytics Skills Boot Camp. They're normally around 1 to 2 days a week. And actually, they're not usually full days, they're normally half days. And it's a mixture of hybrid and in person. And I think Dan's running some, he might be doing a bit here. I think yeah. Anyway, they are 8 to 12 week courses, and there is starts in January. So tomorrow I'll send around all the details so anybody can sign up. But they are great for freelancers. So if you've got a newsletter or anything, they are, great for that. Do people typically do those alongside jobs? Yeah. Especially if you're a freelance. I mean, I was thinking, I live in West Sussex, but I was thinking of doing the AI one because I thought that would be brilliant. And as long as it would kind of help you to get more work and things as a freelancer, it's absolutely fine. Okay, the other service that we have for, which I deliver for East Sussex, is a service. I don't know if anybody's had any interaction, I thought you had, with the service. So it's a impartial information, advice and guidance service for micro, small and medium enterprises. So, but we do get some large ones as well, because some large ones don't know what they're doing either. To help current and future skills training needs. I've been in this arena for, 25 years now. So what I can do is look at your organisation, do a kind of skills audit, see what you need currently, but also in the future as well, if you're growing, and then look at how you can get that training, but also develop staff, recruit staff, that kind of thing as well. So, yeah. So it's free, impartial, one-to-one information via guidance. I normally set up a Teams meeting and just go through all the scenarios. There's practical help and support, so I can look at the apprenticeship standards, for example, look at the courses available, and see which is most suitable. I can then make introductions to the colleges and training providers as well. I can also provide on if you are taking on your first employee as a business, because that's a big jump. So all the things around HMRC, what you need to have in place, particularly if you're going to take on an apprentice as well. I also have access to the East Sussex County Council levy pot, which is, so basically they pay into a levy, which is basically a tax, which they are allowed to transfer or share with small and medium businesses, 50% of that. So they've got around about £600,000 pot, which they are willing to share with businesses in East Sussex who take on apprentices. The government have announced from April that they are opening, April next year, they are opening up the levy pot. So you will be able to fund short module courses as well. They haven't announced what those short module courses are, so I don't know what they are. Okay. So as I said, I can identify workforce needs and explore available apprenticeships and skill training options, help you choose a training provider using delivery module preferences, apply for apprenticeship levy. That's a really simple form. I can also set you up, or help you to set up a apprenticeship service account, which is linked to your HMRC gateway login and your PAYE scheme if you already have employees. Support in recruiting. So part of when you set up an apprenticeship service account, there's a facility on there where you can actually advertise and promote your vacancies for apprentices. I can also, because I'm a consultant as well, I also can refer you to grants which may be available as well. And there are through the Growth Hub, for example, at East Sussex. There are other digital grants as well through Innovate and that kind of thing. Okay. Has anybody got apprentices here? Huh? So where are you from?
I'm from Davos.
Oh, okay. Okay, that makes sense. Yeah.
Yeah, we've had a few join us. Currently have one who's on a degree apprenticeship.
Ah, brilliant. University of Brighton, Manchester. Okay.
But yeah, we've had a few come through various different routes.
Yeah. Okay. Now, obviously, apprenticeships, they've changed. They have changed a lot, apprenticeships. There was a big reform back in 2017 now, but there's now about 750 different apprenticeship standards, and they range from level 2, which is equivalent to GCSE, right the way to level 7, which is masters. Though the level 7s are not going to be funded anymore from January. But they are in all different occupational areas, job roles, and they are all different lengths, and they have been devised by employers. I will say most of them have been devised by large employers, if I'm honest, but they have been devised by employers. It's a tri-party agreement. They are a member of your team. They are employees. So it's a tri-party agreement where you have your employer, you have your apprentice, and then you have your training provider, college, delivering the training. As I say, it's paid employment, combining work and study. There is a off-the-job training element to an apprenticeship. Now that they've changed it, but anyway, It's not quite 20%, but it works out if they are full time, it's 1 day a week. But that may not be going to college, particularly in the digital arena. They could be going onto a webinar, or they could be doing theory lessons online, for example, or doing research. Um, Full time is a minimum of 30 hours per week. If it is under 30 hours, the duration of the apprenticeship will be extended to make sure that all the training aspects covered. There is a minimum of 8 months. Now that has reduced because it used to be a year, it used to be 12 months. That is not for all apprenticeships. So yeah. The endpoint assessment, again, they're changing this, but at this moment in time, the endpoint assessment, which is at the end, so you have what's called a practical period, which is all the apprentices' knowledge, skills, and behaviours, and then you have an endpoint assessment. The endpoint assessment is a test of their occupational competency. Say things like that. That is delivered by an independent of the training provider. So that is an independent endpoint assessment organisation. The benefits of apprenticeships, so they can address skills shortages. You can recruit and train future talent. So if anybody is having anybody on an industry placement from T levels, for example, they could then progress onto an apprenticeship afterwards. They can improve productivity, increase employer retention, diversify the workforce, deliver social value, increase satisfaction and morale, and create a learning culture. Okay. And it's worth saying you can upskill existing staff. That's the other thing. So a lot of firms, so you may have somebody who's been doing something for, I don't know, decades, but actually hasn't got a certificate in there. And actually, they could do an apprenticeship. You don't have to call them an apprenticeship. I've worked with CEOs of a national charity she's just completed her senior leader level 7 apprenticeship. So you don't have to call them apprenticeship. As long as that person has a mentor who can guide them through, it's perfectly fine. These are some of the digital apprenticeships on offer. There are level 6 apprenticeships as well. But these are just some of the digital apprenticeships. But you may need somebody who needs to do the accounts, for example. Business admin, for example. It could be an events coordinator, for example, as well. Anything is more or less anything is covered. I was going to do some questions, but I won't do that. I had a Mentimeter, but it's probably not appropriate. Any questions?
What's the kind of, is there any trend in uptake or downturn or anything in numbers of people doing apprenticeships, like kind of generally that you've seen in the area?
It is going up,
Yeah.
but it seems to be the higher levels are going up rather than level 2 and level 3. There isn't that many level 2 apprenticeships on offer. What I haven't talked about is, I don't know if you've heard about foundation apprenticeships. Okay, so foundation apprenticeships are a new scheme that the government have brought in, and they're specifically for 16 to 18-year-olds who aren't quite ready for an apprenticeship. So they do a bit of the apprenticeship, and then they go on to progress onto an apprenticeship. They do some of the modules, for example, and they will do work experience as part of that foundation apprenticeship. They last about 8 months. Currently, we haven't got any providers in East Sussex delivering foundation apprenticeships, but it is being discussed with training providers and the college, for example. But yeah, there is a uptake in hire, and I think I will say that in upskilling is probably higher than new recruits and young people going into. But it depends on the sector, because actually construction, for example, is probably the other way. So it does, and care is a lot of upskilling, but actually it's a bit different as well, and early years is a bit different. But does seem to be change. It does seem to be picking up, but yeah, there has been some redundancies as well locally. Not in the digital space, as far as I know.
Okay, brilliant. Yes, fine.